Hey there, sports history fans. Artie Chapman of Fantasy Football Origin Stories here to tell you about a new way to play fantasy football this upcoming season. Tailgate Fantasy Sports is the game you've been waiting for. It's a new type of fantasy football that's totally free and easy to play. Just sign up with your email, pick your favorite NFL team, and set a 3-man lineup using only players from that team. Rotate 2 players each week and add power-ups to boost your players' scores. The best part? One random power-up drops every week. Now, it's not going to replace your existing leagues. In fact, it might be the way to get some of your favorite players on your home team. Because we all know how hard it is to get your hometown team's players in your home league, right? That is, if you truly follow some semblance of an ADP. I mean, come on. You think I'm getting Amon-Ra, the sun god, at market value in my home league? Pick number 7? You gotta be kidding me, dude. Get all the rules over at tailgatefantasysports.com. But the real action happens at tailgatefantasy.io. Tailgate Fantasy Sports, where true fans rule the game. Join now and help us put the word fan back into fantasy football.
Let's admit it, we've all seen some crazy uniforms out on the gridiron lately. The artistic expression of multicolored uniforms and adornments makes your head spins as the teams in the stores are looking for new team-related jerseys to market. This is not anything new, and today we go into a recent piece by Football Archaeology's website where Timothy Brown discovered some oddly colored gridiron jersey numbers of the past to the 1930s from Caltech. And Tim's coming up with that story in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with pigskindispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of pigskindispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your portal to positive football history, and welcome to Tuesday, footballarchaeology.com day. Timothy P. Brown, the founder and head writer of that site. Tim, welcome back to the Pig Pen.
Hey, Darren. Good to see you again on a beautiful summer evening. Looking forward to talking a little bit of old football.
Yeah, we are getting to the point where football is, there's pads being clacked around the country and balls being thrown, and we're going to be seeing a lot of that real soon.
Yep.
Well, of course, we can still watch our friends north of the border that have been playing, but getting exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say before you added the CFL, our CFL friends, I haven't been really watching it when it's on CFL Plus, but when it's on the CBS thing, I tape those and watch those games. So it's fun. There's some great football.
It definitely is. There's a lot of offense. They really gear it towards scoring some points. So that's what makes it attractive.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk tonight about one of your tidbits that you had back in June, just a little over a month ago, and talking about some jerseys, which is a favorite topic. I love talking about those, and something in particular unique about the numbers. And I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. So this is sometimes I can't even recreate how I found some of these stories, but I think what happened was I was looking, somehow I'd come across, the story is about Caltech, so California Technology.
And right there, it's going to be something wacky when that school name and football come together. There's something going to be fun.
Well, they don't play football anymore, at least at the varsity level, but they did for a long time. They had success in the California small college circuit, the Occidentals and the Whittiers and those kinds of schools, they sit in the school is in Pasadena, and so one of the cool things about them, and there's a picture of one of their home games in the Rose Bowl, in like 1933 or something, but they played their games in tournament park before the Rose Bowl stadium was built, and then in the Rose Bowl because they're literally right next door. And so, anyways, they attract a couple thousand fans to see a game under the lights and in the Rose Bowl. So, kind of fun stuff. I'm sure it had to be a big treat for any of the opposing teams to get a chance to play there.
Right.
But so somehow I came across them. I actually did 2 stories in a row about Caltech because the previous tidbit was about these face shields that they wore in the 1940-41 period. But they ended up, they were basically shields to allow guys who wore glasses to play football. And this is before face masks, were common. And so somehow in searching through their yearbooks, I came across a couple pictures where it's like, what is going on with those jerseys? And so what they had was, for want of a better term, two-toned numerals on the jerseys. So they only had numbers on the backs. They didn't have them on the front. But they had, a dark wide stripe that ran through the sleeves and then the body, and maybe, just above the belly button, but not all the way up at the chest. And so it was probably 6-inch wide, 7-inch wide stripe. And because that thing was there, when they put the numbers on, they couldn't have like a dark number because it would have overlapped with the dark stripe. And then on the rest of the jersey where it's white, they couldn't have a white number. So what they did is they had a 2-tone number. So on the dark, where it went over the dark stripe, it was a white number, but then above the stripe, it was dark.
Yeah. So let me cut in here real quick here, folks. If you want to, Tim's explaining this, you can see a great example of it. We have the link in the show notes that takes you right to Tim's footballarchaeology.com site. He's got some great images of what he's talking about there, so you can appreciate that. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah. So yeah, I should have mentioned that myself, but and so the thing is, like I track every college yearbook that I look at, just to make sure, have I covered this turf before or not? And I'm probably need to go through a bunch of them just because I'll see new things. But I've looked at, like, now I'm just under 3,400 old college yearbooks that I've paged through to look at the football section, and I've never come across these 2-toned numbers before, or at least I haven't noticed them. So anyways, so I think they're unique. I've seen, like, Penn used to have, or Penn probably still does, and Harvard, both schools, I've seen like the P or the H logo where there'd be a diagonal, split, from lower to upper, and so one would be maroon and the other would be white, and one would be blue and the other white. So so if you can imagine that, if you've seen that logo, then that's basically what it looked like, except it was a horizontal split, upper and lower of the dark and the white. But anyways, just one of those weird things that thankfully never caught on. And as much as, nowadays, it used to be you could only have Arabic letters, and then there were like certain constraints. You could only use these typefaces. Right. Nowadays, there's so much, basically unreadable.
I think they still there's just a greater number of fonts I think they can use, but they sort of got to have a certain size block number to be legal. I think even NCAA, because otherwise somebody like Oregon would be pushing the limits probably beyond what Caltech did in this case.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. Yeah, it's just I've seen too many like white on gray uniforms, white numbers on gray uniforms. And the fonts are all these things that they look like they're from NASCAR or something. They're just pig ugly. And so anyways, and don't get me started on colored fields, because that's another story.
There's one blue one in particular. I don't even know if I can watch the games. It drives me crazy, but great football there, but not the great field.
Yeah. So anyways, this is just one of those things where it's, just kind of a bizarre thing. I mean, I've never seen it, obviously it didn't take off, didn't become popular, but maybe somebody else had one, and if they do, reach out and let us know.
Well, that's what we count on you for, is the bizarre football items, and you definitely deliver those, and this is one of them. So we love it. I mean, I think it's great conversational pieces, and you learn a lot about what people were trying to experiment with and innovate, or try to gain an advantage over the other team, or whatever. Personal style choice. I don't know what you'd call this, but it's some cool stuff. It's really interesting. So we appreciate that too.
I mean, I've used it a couple times, but it's the innovation versus oddity. It's, if people adopt it and it takes off, then you were innovative. But if you did something that everybody thinks, especially looking back 50, 60 years later, what in the heck were they thinking?
But why do those people have stripes down the middle of their helmet? What are they, crazy?
Yeah.
One of those things. Yeah, I know. Wow. If you could share with us, to the listeners, so we can enjoy your tidbits, because you have items like this, 7 days a week, and you have some beauties that are come on there like this, and you'll get a good chuckle out of it, or just be entertained for a few minutes, and talk about the people at the work around the water cooler next day, or whatever, buddies, while you're having a few cold ones. It's a great way to do it, and get some football history every single day. So Tim, if you could share how the folks could join you in that, they appreciate that.
Sure. Best way to do it is just go to footballarchaeology.com, subscribe. You can do that for free. And then, basically you'll get an email from me every night at 7:00 Eastern. I'm also on the Substack platform, on Twitter and on Threads. So, and all under the same name, Football Archaeology.
Well, Tim Brown, thank you very much once again for talking to us about some great football history and your footballarchaeology.com tidbits. And we will talk to you again next Tuesday.
Very good. Thank you much. Have a good one.
That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff, for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com. Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, aka the Football History Dude, and I wanted to thank you for stopping by to listen to another episode here on the Sports History Network. Our podcasters are passionate about uncovering and sharing sports stories from yesteryear. And if you didn't know it already, we have over 30 shows across the network covering all sorts of sports history topics. In fact, here's a glimpse into one of our awesome podcasts here on the network.
Each week, the official Football Learning Academy podcast will take you deep into the history of pro football through interviews with players, coaches, or administrators in the NFL, as well as interviews with Pro Football Hall of Fame selectors, authors, and historians. You'll learn how the game evolved and important moments that shaped the sport into what it is today. And don't miss the Pro Football History Nugget of the Week. Listen to the official Football Learning Academy podcast on the Sports History Network.
How about that? I bet you're super hyped to go listen to that new podcast, right? Well, to learn about this show and all the other podcasts on the network, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com/podcast. Again, that's sportshistorynetwork.com/podcast. Head over there today to find your next favorite sports history podcast.